Marines. By the way, what kind of administration is afraid to give firearms to our soldiers, but wants to give Iran a nuclear weapon?
That's right.
In the days that follow, we will finally secure the borders and end sanctuary cities. We will stop the Obama administration's indefensible practice of releasing violent, criminal, illegal aliens, and we will pass Kate's Law. In the days that follow, we will take on the regulators, the EPA, the CFPB, the Department of Labor, the NLRB, that have descended like locusts on small businesses. We will rein them back and we will unchain growth and opportunity for young people coming out of school. And in the days that follow, I will go to Congress and we will pass fundamental tax reform. We will pass a simple flat tax. Where every American can fill out his or her taxes on a postcard. And when we do that, we should abolish the IRS. There are about 90,000 employees at the IRS. We need to padlock that building. Take all 90,000 and put them down on our southern border. Now, to our friends in the media, I say that somewhat tongue-in-cheek. But if you think about it, imagine, sir, you traveled thousands of miles in the blazing sun. You're swimming across the Rio Grande, and the first thing you see is 90,000 IRS agents. You'd turn around and go home, too. Now, you know, some of y'all may be thinking, all of that makes sense to me. It's basic common sense.
Right.
Live within your means.
That's right.
Don't bankrupt your kids and grandkids.
Yep.
Follow the Constitution.
Yes.
But can it happen?
Yes.
Can we do it?
Yes.
You know, Scripture tells us there's nothing new under the sun.
That's right.
I think where we are today is very much like the late 1970s. Same failed economic policy, same misery, stagnation, and malaise. Same feckless and naive foreign policy. In fact, the exact same countries, Russia and Iran, openly laughing at and mocking the President of the United States. Now, why is it that that analogy gives me so much hope and optimism? Because we know how that story ended. All across this country, millions of men and women rose up and became the Reagan Revolution.
That's right. That's right. Part of that.
And it didn't come from Washington.
That's right.
Washington despised Ronald Reagan. By the way, if you see a candidate who Washington embraces, run and hide. It came from the American people, and it turned this country around. We went from stagnation and misery to booming growth. Millions lifted out of poverty into prosperity in the American dream. We went from our hostages languishing in Iran to winning the Cold War and tearing the Berlin Wall to the ground.
Yes. That's right.
The reason I'm so optimistic is simple. The same thing is happening again.
That's right.
All across America, all across New Hampshire, people are waking up. We are building a grassroots campaign from the people. So what I ask everyone here is join us. Be part of our team. Come and sign up. Volunteer to be a county chairman, a precinct chairman, to volunteer on the ground. The one force powerful enough to break the Washington cartel is the American people.
Yes. Amen.
Senator Cruz.
If you think Washington is doing great, if you think we're headed in the right direction, we just need to fiddle around the edges, then I ain't your guy. On the other hand, if you think Washington is fundamentally broken, if you think there is a bipartisan corruption of career politicians in both parties that get in bed with lobbyists and special interests and grow government, and that we need to take power out of Washington and back to we the people. That is what this campaign is about. Woo! I'm going to say one final thing. For all of us here, freedom is not some abstract concept we read about in a book. This is the live free or die state, after all.
That's right.
Freedom is real. It's personal. It's personal in our lives, in our families. For me, I think of my dad, Rafael Cruz. He was born in Cuba. He was imprisoned and tortured as a teenager in Cuba. And my dad fled Cuba in 1957. He came to America. He was 18 and he couldn't speak English. He had $100 sewn into his underwear. He got a job washing dishes, making 50 cents an hour. And he worked full time. He paid his way through school. He went on to start a small business with my mom. Today, my dad is a pastor. He travels the country preaching the gospel. Now, my whole life, my dad has been my hero. But you know what he told me over and over again when I was a kid? He said, when we faced oppression in Cuba, I had a place to flee to.
65 for fried food.
If we lose our freedom here, where do we go? That is why all of us are here. Because the men and women of New Hampshire, we are not prepared to go quietly into the night. We are not prepared to give up on our freedom, to give up on our children, to give up on our grandchildren. We will stand together and defend the Constitution, and together we will bring back that last best hope for mankind, that shining city on a hill
That's right.
that is the United States of America. Thank you.